Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with Jazz Matters on another Jazz Matters podcast. And today we're talking with Will Jaxx, trombonist. And I've checked him out, and he doesn't know it yet, but I've seen him. But, I'm gonna let him speak to you tonight. We also here with, of course, the great Coulter. And yes, and we'll go ahead and kick this off and let us go ahead and get the ball rolling here. So Will, with all of the for all of the people that are actually tuning into the podcast, and we've been getting pretty good response out of it. We'd like to know a little bit more about you, who you are, and how you got started in this music business.
Sure thing. Well, I am Will Jaxx. I am a trombonist based here in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been playing trombone for, oh my goodness, for quite some time, over 25 years, easily. And, I play all different types of music, but I've tended to gravitate more towards contemporary music, kind of blending jazz and hip hop, acid jazz. So I have more of a contemporary flair.
Okay, and where are you from Atlanta, the metro area?
I was raised in Atlanta, but I was originally born in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, okay. I know about Cleveland. A lot of players I knew up there, a lot of musicians. How long had you been down here?
Well, I've been down here, well, my mom said, since I was 6 months old. So
6 months? Okay, then. So you're a native.
yeah,
What I'm saying? Definitely. So I checked out a couple of things you were doing. Seen your clip on social media where you guys had like a New Orleans street jazz band type situation where you did like a brass band kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Is that something you do regularly or often?
Well, I try to keep a lot of the New Orleans second line brass work in my repertoire, and I play with two different bands here in the city that play that type of music. Most recently, though, I'm actually in the midst of working on a project that is brass band related. I happen to have my own brass band, and we're called the Souther Playalistics. And we started playing. I guess it was the Super Bowl was the Super Bowl was held in Atlanta. When was that? January of
2 years. Yeah,
about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So we started playing a couple of years ago, and we wanted to do something different. So I got a lot of players here in the city together that I know and have confidence in, that were real great players. And so we started doing, I guess you could call it, paying homage to the hip hop culture here in Atlanta, because as you know, Atlanta's a hip hop mecca. Mm-hmm. And so our brass band specifically deals with hip hop music. So it's a totally different sound, a totally different vibe, totally different energy than perhaps the music you would hear from South Carolina or the brass band music that you would hear up in the Carolinas.
Yeah. Now there was a group here called the Peachtree Strutters. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They've been around for a very long time. And if any of them are, I think there's probably maybe one or two that are still here. They were the closest thing to, the New Orleans sound, you know what I'm saying, as or a brass band type thing, because they were actually set up pretty much like your band, your brass band. And what it is they've been around a long time around here in Atlanta. If you ever look them up, you probably see some old footage maybe on them. A couple of them are still here. A lot of them were educators, music educators, and but of course, since long retired, and some of them are not with us now. But I do know personally, I do know two of them that are still here. And Jazz Matters has a summer concert series that we put on every year. We've been putting it on for the last 5 years. And of course, because of what's happened now this year we weren't able to go outside because it's always an outdoor event. And we weren't able to do it this year, but we've been working on some virtual stuff that we're putting. We actually going to air some pretty soon. We've been doing the taping and everything, so it would be a great asset to us, as an organization, which we are nonprofit, but we can give you that platform to expose your group and as well as yourself. And we'd love to have you in our mix of things. Let's say it like that. And we got a very diverse group of entertainers and musicians. So the type of music, it really doesn't matter, when it comes to what we do, because we're trying to give as many of the young resident talented people a platform, and which actually Atlanta that has dropped off tremendously in the last 20 years. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'll be glad if we can get you on next year, this summer, if when things let up, of course. And I think you'll like it. It's by being outdoors, and the communication is different, the vibe is different, and we always have a lot of fun. So I know that's probably something you might be interested in, and if you are, just let me know now, because we'll
Sure,
definitely put you
absolutely.
out there.
That sounds great. I'm sure that the other guys would love to come, and I'm sure I would love to bring Southern Playalistics and
Yeah.
showcase some of what we do, and represent Atlanta.
Right.
Absolutely.
And Vaughn, I know Vaughn want to weigh in because Vaughn actually introduced me to you, and it's a good. I knew he was, and he's excited that you're here. So Vaughn, anything you need to go ahead and get him to tell us all this business about?
Oh yeah, I just was kind of interested when you doing the brass band performances. You play a lot of the hip hop sound. Tell me what's the difference in what you do with that as opposed to a regular second line brass band sound? How does that differentiate?
Well, I would probably say the New Orleans brass band sound is, I guess you could say, really defined by certain cadences and a certain feel. It caters itself to dancing, and it really is kind of a outgrowth of our African roots. And I think probably one of the people who can describe the feeling of the music and how the music developed the best probably would be Wynton Marsalis, who is a Washingtonian, of course, and he definitely has described the music of New Orleans he's very descriptive with his terms. So a lot of it comes from that African feeling. The music that we bring with the Southern Playalistics in Atlanta is it is Afrocentric because it's African American based, but it's with it being that hip hop culture, and it's specifically representative of Atlanta. When you look at I guess you could say, when you look at different brass bands and what they bring to the table, and the two that I like to compare is New Orleans and the brass bands of the Carolinas. They're different in the sense that the brass bands of the Carolinas are an outgrowth of the House of Prayer Church. So those are based out of worship. And that's actually the environment that, if you're familiar with the great trombonist, Jeff Bradshaw.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
He's from South Carolina, and a lot of his feeling and a lot of his playing is informed by the brass bands of South Carolina. And their music, of course, is more sacred music. And so, and in my, I guess you could say, musical opinion, the way they express their soul is a little bit different than what you will find, say, in the New Orleans bands. With New Orleans, the brass bands are particularly secular. So there's a interplay there of, one is sacred, one is secular. So it's a different sound. There's a, there is a light in New Orleans music that you can, that, every time you hear New Orleans music, it makes you want to, it makes you want to get up and dance. It makes you want to smile. It kind of brings the best out of people.
Right.
So there's definitely a light in it, but it's characteristically different. And so the music of Atlanta being hip hop based, hip hop is really close to the streets. So it's, it's really urban. It's, it has a really strong urban influence. Hip hop does. And so, the music that you hear from the Souther Playalistics, it's informed by that urban sensibility, that hip hop sensibility. We'll definitely play things that you hear on the radio, not necessarily a few years ago. You may have just heard it on the radio, we're playing it. And of course it has its own energy and its own life.
Right, right. Tell us about, just interested in the other aspect of your music that I know that you're participating in as well. Is it orchestra noir?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I grew up as a classically trained trombonist. And so classical music was my life for a while. And I've sat with the Athens Symphony Orchestra and played bass trombone with them. And so I love classical music. I love classical Western, classical Western music, the composers. I'm particularly a romantic, so I love the romantic era of classical music because there's lots of trombone work there. And I'm sure a lot of brass players love the romantic era, Tchaikovsky and the like. So, as a, professional artist, I've done a lot of commercial work. I've played with a lot of hip hop artists and worked with various artists, really large and small, through the years. Done stage work, playing, doing plays and theater bands and things of that nature. But I still was trying to see if I could scratch that itch, to really, because I really love classical music. And so we have our wonderful conductor, maestro, Jason Akeem Rogers, started Orchestra Noir in 2016. And it is an all African-American orchestra based here in Atlanta. And we do perform classical music and we do have a classical season. But the unique thing that Maestro Rogers also does is he combines hip hop and hip hop with classical music as well. He originally is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So he brings that Philly influence into the orchestra, and how he fuses the two together is really, really creative. And I saw his vision, and I definitely wanted in. So he was had a call for auditions. I sent him my audition video. He liked what he heard, and I won the chair, principal chair in Orchestra Noir.
Wow.
So I've been with them ever since. You probably have seen us in probably a ton of places because we do a lot of events. We played for Cardi B's birthday shower. We've been on BET with T.I. and Tiny's Family Hustle. Most recently, we were on one of the night shows. I think the string section was on one of the night shows with 2 Chainz and 2 Chainz and another artist. But we've done a lot of work. Our string section has recorded the soundtrack for Greenleaf, for one of the seasons of the TV show Greenleaf. So Maestro Rogers keeps us busy. He keeps us busy.
Awesome.
Right. Speaking of, I spoke to, I had a little conversation with Vanessa Fanning. That's one of the
Yes.
cello in that orchestra. And I was talking with her about, of course, giving her a platform to basically, come on and let us talk a little bit about her. And she was saying like, well, my thing isn't really jazz. And I'm like, don't worry about that. You know what I'm saying? I need to get all of it, because we encompass, all forms of music. And like I said,
Mhm.
what we do, we don't exclude any different, no one that's like, let's say if you're doing hip hop influenced music, then Jazz Matters is glad to have you, because we want to put you out front, try to give you as much traction as we can possibly give you. And it's one of those kind of things where you always got a home if you want it. There's always something you can do. And like I said, like next year, like when this, the situation that we're in now, once it lifts, we'll be definitely contacting you. And because we were supposed to had big plans for it this summer. You know what I'm saying? And the
Yeah.
thing is, and that was one of the things that we were gonna do, is definitely have a brass band. And it's gonna be like I said, next year I think we're gonna be able to pull that off. So get you guys together and get them ready, because they're definitely here. We also Vaughn and I interviewed a trumpet player that is influenced by the New Orleans sound. Michael Cruz, you may know him,
Hmm.
and he's really hung around a couple of the Marcellus brothers down in New Orleans and everything, and he really traditionally is really hooked into that sound. He'll also be one of the artists that will be streaming pretty soon. And like I said, if you we still have room on the roster. Let's say it like that. So
Okay.
you can't escape, now, because I got you out there. You out there in the world now. Everybody knows about it. You know what I'm saying?
I
So,
love it. I love
so
it.
there's no escape now. All we got to do is go ahead and put our heads together and plan on exactly, when we're gonna go ahead and take care of that. You see?
Sure, sure thing, sure thing. And I love trumpet players. I don't know if I know Mr. Cruz personally, but I am familiar. I am familiar with the name,
Mhm.
and I may actually have met him, and we may have, because I meet so many different people.
Well, you know how Atlanta is. There are so many people that I've met, and like if you're moving around a lot and you're in demand, it's gonna happen. You're gonna meet a lot of people, and
Absolutely.
but the thing about it is, at least like I said, with our platform, we're gonna definitely try to keep as many exposed as possible,
Yeah.
and because of the of course now the virtual situation,
Hmm.
we're definitely, really trying to beef that up so that we'll have just as much going on there as we do live, you see. And I think that people are really the Atlanta uh, jazz scene, especially for the local or the residential players that actually live here, is pretty. It's really underserved, and I'm been trying for quite a while to make that a situation to where I wouldn't have to, people that come to town, they really would know where to go and see the local talent here, because it's a lot of it, and it's all good. And
Yeah.
I think that both the generations, both the older players as well as the younger players, they're all good, but the platforms are limited, and that limitation is in my opinion, it really hurts the city's uh, cultural aspects when it goes into music. And when I first came to Atlanta, see the music culture was very vibrant,
Hmm.
and there were places you could go and play, and it's almost like there was endless. I
Yeah.
rarely ever sat at home during the week and made it to the weekend without playing. That was a rarity, and I
Yeah.
don't think I've actually ever done it since I've been in Atlanta. Up until 2013, I worked for over 20 years. I worked about 23 years right here in Atlanta at a place called Dante's Down the Hatch.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like an institution around here, you know.
Absolutely, it was.
And
Yeah.
and I've worked there for about 23 years. And by the time, you know, that venue closed, my first instinct was to go out and see where else things were going, because, you know, it was like I was kind of, you know, in this particular area, but I couldn't get out to see a lot of people.
Right.
And
Exactly.
the thing was, so I kind of lost a lot of contacts, but because, you know, I did that, then I found out, oh my goodness, where have all the places gone? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I made it very clear right then, you know, I got to do something about keeping jazz alive and keeping the jazz and the music culture alive, because it was just basically me and a couple of friends of mine that was already playing down there, and we started out with Jazz Matters, and we're continuing on, you know, right to this day. That's why we're searching out people like yourself, people that I don't know, that I'm just meeting, just to give you that platform, because I'm always hearing about people, but I really need to communicate with them and let them know that there's a platform for them to, you know, to expose themselves on. And what now, when you were talking about the cultural situation between hip hop and classical, and we'll throw a little jazz in there. What are you planning to do anything, or are you working on any compositions that you plan to release on yourself, that's actually integrating those forms of music?
That is a fantastic question, Edwin.
It's kind of
I
long,
have
but I got around to it.
I've been, man, I've been doing a lot of work for so many different people. Um, Again, a lot of it here recently has been doing a lot of studio work with hip hop artists. You know, just trying to help support them, to help their careers and help them fly. Trying to get placements and that sort of thing. We recently, a project that I was a part of, that I initially did a recording with a hip hop artist who lives here now, but he's originally from Mississippi, by the name of Big Crit. There was a recording that we did called "Keep the Devil Off," that was recently used by ABC in their dramatic presentation, their TV show, TV series For Life, which is a dramatic TV series. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's executive producer is Curtis Jackson, better known as 50 Cent.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about a prisoner in New York who actually became a practicing attorney, who actually it's a true life story of a man who was falsely imprisoned. He was innocent, was in prison for life, and he basically fought his way out of prison. He became an attorney. He sat for the bar while he was in prison, passed the bar, and actually fought for his. He fought for people in the prisoners who were in the prison, to help get them out of prison, and eventually got himself out of prison. So we were really blessed, you know, that 50 Cent and the music supervisors and team there at ABC thought that our work was, you know, good enough, and it was important enough that it could support what they were doing. So that's something I've, you know, really been really proud of this year, and what I've really been trying to focus on. In terms of music for myself, it has been a little while. My debut project, Dichotomy, came out in 2014, and it opened a lot of eyes, because it, you know, basically is kind of like my calling card, so to speak. And I put a little bit of everything in there. I put some traditional jazz in there, put some smooth jazz in there, some hip hop, some acid jazz, neo soul, and kind of combined all those elements into that project. And it got a lot of critical acclaim. won an award behind it. And so it is about time for me to follow that up. So I've been thinking of, what can I do for a second act, so to speak. I am working on, in terms of the ensemble stuff, I am working to do some recording with the Souther Playalistics. But me specifically, I've got some ideas on some things that I want to do, and I probably won't get anything out before the end of the year. It'll probably be the back half of 2021 going into 2022 that you'll probably hear something from me in terms of solo work, me actually making a sophomore appearance.
Oh, okay. Vaughn, you got?
Yeah. I know we only have a few minutes left. Tell us about your relationship with Anthony Duke Pearson.
Yes, I love Anthony Duke Pearson. Anthony is a friend, great friend, and a true mentor of mine. We have known each other for, oh gosh, longer than I probably care to mention. It'll probably tell both our ages, but we've known each other probably, oh God, at least 15 or 20 years easily. He's a wonderful trumpet player. I will say he is a first-rate trumpet player. Even though he tends to be, you would not necessarily know it just to meet him, but he's fantastic, just fantastic on trumpet. I can say that he was a mentor to me in a lot of ways. He taught me in a lot of respects how to be a professional. How to not just, it's one thing if you're working on a gig to get a gig, but it's something else to be able to keep a gig, and to hold on to it for the long term. Anthony was one of those people who taught me not only how to get a gig and how to conduct yourself when you're on a gig, or on a job, but how to keep the job. Which is very, very important, because there are a lot of guys that can play. A lot of guys these days can play. So anybody can win an audition, but winning an audition is different from staying in a post for 10 years or 15 years.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's got a lot to do with your mentality,
Yes,
and your social skills. Because I've seen some of the best in the world in other situations. They are talented, like you said, beyond belief. With the social skills, you don't even want to bother them. I'm
absolutely.
serious. That's the thing.
Yeah,
But,
you have to be very good at personal politics, very good, very even keel, very steady. Of course, you have to be consistent. Yeah, just lots of things. Timely, I can definitely say that there were two people that really taught me great lessons on being a professional. One was my high school band director, Dr. Marvin Pryor, who was a trombonist himself, who used to play with Cameo some years ago, and Anthony Duke Pearson. Those two, far and away, really mentored me. I've had great trombone teachers, great trombone instructors that taught me about how to play technically. But in terms of like actual mentorship and friendship, those two, far and away, were great mentors to me. And I consider Anthony a great friend.
well, I'm sure he'd be glad to hear all that. But Will, I go way back with Anthony, and I used to have to spank him a little bit, back in the day. And but he'll tell you about that if you have to ever ask him, But we great friends to this day. And but let everyone know where they can get a hold of you through social media platforms.
Sure, absolutely. You can reach me at my website, willjaxx.com. That's WILLJAXX.com. I'm also on Instagram at Will Jaxx, and also on Twitter at Will Jaxx.
All right. And Vaughn, I know, like you said, we were running out of time. And Vaughn, you can let everybody know where you're doing your thing.
Oh my gosh, jazzbeatsradio.com. I'm on Instagram at Von Coulter, and it's Von Coulter /-1 at my Twitter page. And also, I just want to mention to you that on Jazz Beats Radio, we've added Bob Baldwin to our roster of talent, as well as Dave Cause. So we've got that's some very good news for what's going on in Jazz Beats Radio. And I'm going to be like isolated right between them on Saturdays and Sundays. So it's a pleasure to be in that position between those two fine musicians, and looking forward to being able to keep things going with Jazz Beats Radio. And that's the main place you can find me, on jazzbeatsradio.com.
Yes, and of course, we're Jazz Matters, and you can get us at yesjazzmatters.org. So, Will, it's been great, man, meeting you and getting a little bit into your history, and hope to stay in contact so we can really get some things together for this coming year.
Absolutely. I'm excited. It's great meeting you, Edwin. It's not good seeing you again, Vaughn, as always. And yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited, and I can't wait. I'd love to partner with you guys, and and we can definitely be a blessing to the platform.
All right. That's it for Jazz Matters on this one. And we're glad, like I said, to have had Will Jaxx come in and give us a little bit about him. And we hope to really get him in on some of this stuff that we are planning at Jazz Matters very, very soon. All right. So we can end this by saying until next Monday.
Until next Monday.
That's
until
right.
next Monday.
7:30. All right.
Everybody be good.
Peace.